Initially, I wanted to create an English version of my previous video, this. Then I tried Notebook LM, using my video as the source for the deep conversation feature. It turned out wonderful, so I think it's unnecessary to create a new one. Before we jump into the conversation, let me walk you through a simple framework we have put together, a kind of like a puzzle, to help us see the big picture of how China's technology is on the rise. Imagine 9 pieces of puzzle. The first piece is the product, the technologies where China is truly ahead on the world stage. The second piece is the consumer, who's buying this product and driving demand. Of course, products don't just appear out of the thin air. They come from the companies, our third puzzle piece. But companies can't survive without people. That's why the fourth piece is the talent, which takes us into China's education system and how it produces the skill needed for the technological growth. Then comes the location, the fifth piece. This is about where these companies operate, industrial park, special economic zone, and the places designed to attract investment and technology transfer. The sixth piece is the government, understanding how policies and support from both central and local level help tech company growth. Which leads us to the seventh piece, the institution, the specific bodies in charge of science and technology development. Now, in China's unique single-party system, all of this connect back to the party. That's our eighth piece, where policies and technology goals are decided. Leadership rotation are managed through a system known as a cadre management. And finally, the last piece, the history. China's long history shaped how it approached and achieved technological advancement today. When all the pieces connect, we finally see the story of China's technological ascent. And that's exactly how we unfold this series. Over the next 20 episodes, each one will focus on different pieces of the framework, from product to consumer, from company to talent, and beyond. Together, this episode will give us a clear picture of how China's technology continues to rise. Alright, with that in mind, let's dive in.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a really big topic, China's technological advancement. It's quite remarkable. We want to try and understand it, sort of like putting together a puzzle, piece by piece to get the full picture.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we're drawing on a specific set of sources, including a YouTube transcript, actually, which gives us a pretty solid framework. Our goal here is really to pull out the key insights for you, the listener, to make sense of something, well, let's face it, incredibly complex.
Okay, let's dive in. The first puzzle piece.
Yeah.
It's the tangible stuff, right? The products. Where is China actually leading globally? And much in sources. This perspective apparently comes from a U.S. Senate hearing, February 2025.
That's right. And it's quite specific. The hearing highlighted 5 key technologies where China's leadership is already pretty evident.
Right.
First up, high-speed rail. Now, the interesting thing here isn't that they invented it first, but the sheer scale of implementation. We're talking 45,000 kilometers of high-speed rail network.
45,000, wow.
Yeah, it just dwarfs other places, Japan, Europe. They have networks, sure, but nothing on this scale. And America, well, the source noted 0 kilometers implemented in that same sense. And there's a political angle mentioned too, right? How their system allows for these huge long-term projects that maybe wouldn't get off the ground elsewhere because of demands for quick returns.
Yeah.
That scale is just mind-boggling. Does it totally change how people move around, how the economy connects internally?
Oh, absolutely. It fundamentally transforms mobility, connects major economic zones. It allows for, well, unprecedented movement. The challenge is obviously the cost and logistics, but the source suggests that the long-term strategic view kind of justifies it, Okay, second area. Commercial drones and this thing called the low-altitude economy.
Right, drones aren't just for photos anymore.
Not at all. It's gone way beyond hobbyists.
Yeah.
Think flying taxis, sophisticated logistics drones. And the low-altitude economy, this is basically all the economic activity happening below 1,000 meters.
Yeah.
It's seen as a major future growth area. Built on advanced sensors, AI navigation, the works, flying taxis. It still sounds like sci-fi. Are there big technical challenges still? And how does that change a city?
Big time. Battery life, navigating crowded city skies autonomously, air traffic control in 3D space. Major hurdles. But if they crack it, it could totally reshape urban logistics, cut traffic, open up new ways to, well, do business in cities. Then third, the source mentions foundry manufacturing and human robots, kind of the foundational stuff for making everything else.
Foundries.
Yeah.
Like chip manufacturing.
Exactly. Advanced chip production and sophisticated robotics. These are seen as pillars for their whole manufacturing base, giving them control over the supply chain, letting them innovate on the hardware level. Fourth is EVs, so advanced batteries and electric vehicles, a really visible area of progress.
Definitely see a lot about that.
And finally, number 5 is 5G technology, another critical one where they've established global leadership.
Okay, so those are the products. But products need buyers, right?
Yeah.
That feels like the next logical piece. The consumers. Who's actually using all this tech? And how does that demand, feedback into more development?
Good question. And connecting it up, the sources point to 3 key aspects here on the consumer side. First, and maybe most obvious, is China's vast domestic market. 1.5 billion people. That scale alone creates enormous internal demand. It lets companies test, iterate, and scale up massively just within China.
A built-in proving ground, basically.
Pretty much. Second, there's the global export market. Chinese tech isn't just staying home, it's going everywhere. This broadens their reach, forces them to compete internationally, which sharpens their edge. And third is China's economic strength and its global partnerships. This lets them offer tech through collaborations like the Belt and Road Initiative, the BRI.
Oh, the BRI.
Yeah, the sources mention it as a way China actively exports its tech, especially to developing countries, essentially creating new markets and integrating its standards globally.
Okay, huge domestic market, global exports, strategic partnerships, feeding massive demand. So who's building it all? Let's talk about the companies. That's puzzle piece 3.
Right. The sources break it down into 3 main categories. First, you have the big ones, state-owned enterprises, or SOEs. And these aren't monolithic. There are central ones, owned by the federal government, and local ones, provincial, city, even county level. They are a huge deal. Like in 2021, the source notes 82 of the Fortune Global 500 were Chinese SOEs, and there are tens of thousands of them overall.
82 of the top 500. That's significant. But don't SOEs sometimes get criticized for being, maybe less nimble or innovative than private firms? Does the source touch on it?
It acknowledges that perception, sure, bureaucracy, maybe slower innovation cycles, those are potential criticisms. But the implication is that for these massive strategic tech projects, their sheer size, their resources, their alignment with national goals, that can be a real advantage. Long-term vision over short-term profit sometimes. But it's not just SOEs. Second category, private companies. Absolutely fundamental and increasingly dynamic, especially in tech. And then there's this really interesting third category, Mingy companies. Legally, they're private. Yeah. But they get significant special treatment, state support, so they can also produce high-tech stuff, kind of blurring the lines in strategic areas. State-backed, but technically private.
Fascinating mix. Okay, companies need people. Skilled people. How does China generate the workforce for all this? That's our 4th piece. The talent.
Yeah, the human capital question is crucial. The sources stress the role of education, especially in STEM fields, churning out huge numbers of engineers and scientists. But it's more than just universities. There are major government programs, strategic investments, even what the source calls tricks to boost human resources.
Like what kind of tricks?
Well, things like aggressively recruiting top Chinese talent back from overseas, pouring state funding into key research areas, targeted scholarships. It's all about building that pipeline of skilled people needed for tech advancement.
Got it. So we have companies, we have the talent. Where do they physically come together to do the work? That leads us to piece 5, the location. Industrial parks.
Exactly. Industrial parks are key. Their history goes back to the 80s. Deng Xiaoping's special economic zones, the SEZs, Shenzhen, Ximen, those initial coastal areas.
Right, the start of the opening up.
Yeah, designed to pull in foreign investment, kickstart industry. Over time, they evolved economic technological development zones, other names, became more sophisticated, and now they're everywhere. All across China, provinces, cities, specialized hubs for high-tech production and innovation. They concentrate the expertise, the infrastructure.
Okay, so you've got these parks dotted all over. How does the government keep it all coordinated? Manage this huge, complex system? That's piece 6, right? The government system itself.
Absolutely central. It's all about the government's role in supervising and managing high-tech development. It's described as a dynamic relationship between central and local governments. One interesting mechanism mentioned is leadership rotation. Successful local officials often get promoted, move to new regions, taking their successful strategies with them.
So that helps spread best practices, kind of.
Exactly. It helps disseminate policy, ensures execution. It creates a surprisingly coordinated national effort despite the decentralization of all these parks.
Okay, that's the overall system. What about specific government bodies? Dedicated institutions, piece 7. Government institutions.
Right. The sources point to specialized state institutions with remarkably consistent roles over time, like the Ministry of Science and Technology. Its name and core mission haven't changed much, suggesting a stable, long-term focus. You also have bodies like the Chinese Academy of Sciences, CAS, a huge R&D force, and the China Academy of Aviation, their specific policies, their funding, their research. It directly feeds into high-tech production. They're like the national R&D backbone.
Makes sense. Now, we have to address the unique political context. A single-party system. Now, how does the ruling party fit into all this tech advancement? That's piece number 8. The party.
You can't really understand it without considering the party's role. It's dominant, pervasive, involved in planning, vision setting at every level. It's not just abstract policy. There's this key mechanism the sources call cadre management. Basically, successful party members in, say, running an SOE or leading a research lab, they can get rotated into major political leadership jobs, like becoming a mayor of a major city like Shenzhen or a provincial party boss.
So practical expertise gets pulled into political leadership.
Precisely. It means successful development models from one specific area or one industry can get replicated elsewhere because the people who made it work are moved into positions to implement it more broadly. It drives progress systemically.
Okay, almost there. The final piece. You can't ignore history, can you? Piece 9. How does China's past influence its tech ambitions today?
Right. History isn't just stuff that happened, it's a source of inspiration. The sources talk about how past Chinese inventions, the compass, gunpowder, printing, paper, you know the ones.
The 4 great inventions.
Exactly. They serve as a powerful source of national pride, a driver for contemporary discovery. Looking back at what ancestors achieved provides, well, encouragement, a sense that this kind of leadership is part of their heritage, fueling the push for future innovation.
So there we have it. We've put together, 9 pieces of this puzzle: the products, the consumers, the companies, the talent, the locations, the government system, the institutions, the party's role, and the historical context. It gives us a much clearer framework.
It does. It maps out the different elements working together. And if we step back and connect this to the bigger picture, it really leaves you thinking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How might this very structured, very coordinated approach to tech development continue to shape global innovation, global competition in the years ahead? And, what are the implications of that kind of systematic drive for technological leadership? For all of us, really. Something to definitely mull over.
That's it. Pretty wonderful, right? See you in the next episode. And thank you.